The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-wing author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to support the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. You can also support us on Anchor FM as well as PayPal. And for more great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show. And for more great gift ideas, and even including T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and great books by Mian Mohsen Zia, go to amazon.com/Mian Mohsen Zia today. We're here with a terrific gentleman who is an author. He grew up in Southern California. He's also a member of a very special club as well, the National Association of Independent Writers and Editors, and he's also a law professor, Bar Association chairman, investor, banker, and lawyer, and he's also written several books, starting from the Hill, going to the islands, Silicon Beach, the Bay, Cabo, and more. And he also has The Lake as well, too. It was published before the pandemic. And also talk about the book, The Cruise, which addresses a very certain situation. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in somewhere in beautiful sunny California, ladies and gentlemen, the very multi-talented author as well as law professor, Bar Association chairman, investment banker, and lawyer, Davis MacDonald. Davis, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks, Mike. You're way too generous with that phrase. I don't know about that, but I do write books. I'm an author.
and you're amazing as well too. And you have quite a number of books. You start off with The Hill, and also with the islands, Silicon Beach, the Bay, Cabo, and you also got The Cruise, which addresses a very serious situation, which we'll be talking about as well too. And we'll also talk about your first novel, which was published before months the pandemic, and how it was prophetic, and basically you're a well-respected novelist in 21st century classic murder mystery as well. And before we get into all that, tell us how you first got started, Davis.
I'm sorry, say again, what was the question?
I said, tell us how you first got started.
Oh, well, I've been a lawyer for 40 years, and as a lawyer, I write a lot. So writing comes natural. I always wanted to write a series of mystery novels, and finally I got some time together, and I just started writing. I turn out a book a year, Mike, and my books are, people tell me that they're page turners. They like to read them on the beach, on the airplane, in lines. They tend to pick them up and go past their bedtime reading them. So they're fun, they're suspenseful, they're great mysteries, great puzzles, great reads. But each book takes me a year to turn out a book, and each book has an issue, a very important social issue of the 21st century that we all either ought to be addressing, or at least we ought to know about. And so each book has a different sort of issue that it deals with, and I wrap that information, that analysis, that issue that we all should be thinking about around a murder mystery, so that it's kind of a easy way and enjoyable way to get a lot of information about something you should know about.
Mm-hmm. And that's very true, too. We'll start off with The Lake, but first, what actually inspired you to, what was that precise moment that actually influenced you into writing? What was that one precise moment that simply said to you, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Well, yes. I was reading an article in the Los Angeles Times down here in Southern California, and it was an article, I've forgotten who wrote it and who was being interviewed, but it was a gal who was interviewing one of the top 10 New York Times best-selling mystery writers. And she asked him, she said, well, how do you write a book? Do you do an outline? And he said, oh, no, I don't do an outline. He said, I have an interesting place. I have some strong characters, and I just start writing. And the characters tell me their story, and I listen, and I put it down. And when the characters are done telling, they tell me the story's over, and then I'm done. And I said, well, I can do that, for crying out loud. And so I did, and that was the first book, The Hill.
That is sounding interesting. I've done outlines for years, and I realized, why am I doing outlines? In fact, that's just being inspiring to a lot of people. It's like, the heck with the outlines, especially in today's social media. Let's just put it out there. And you also read about one of the authors of the New York Times you had read about. Who are some other favorite authors growing up?
Well, of course, I've read a lot of mystery stories, and I've always enjoyed them, and a lot of literature, too. Each book, when I do my final edit, I pull a well-worn copy of one single book, a classic, I think, off my bookshelf, and I reread it again just for the style and to edit my final edit of the book I'm writing. And that's Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea.
Yes.
And then I go through, I start chopping sentences. I break these fancy sentences into specific key newsman-like, you would understand that, newsman-like sorts of statements. And so my books become easy to read. They have a lot of power, and you don't get caught up in being an English professor trying to figure out what the devil I'm saying.
Yeah, it sounds like to me they're getting away from the English professor mentality as well, too. And what inspired you to write one book a year?
Well, it's about all I have time for. I have a lot of other interests. So I still practice law, of course. I'm an investment banker's lawyer, and I have a variety of clients onshore and off throughout the country that I represent. But many of the stories that these books embody come from real life. I mean, they're stories of people that I've known, experiences I've had, things I've seen over 40 years of practice.
Mm-hmm. And of course, what are some of the most interesting cases you've been involved in? Of course, not mentioning names.
Well, I can't talk about clients, but I mean, the new book I'm working on now, Vegas, although I think it's going to be called the Dark Web when we get down to it, which will come out this year, starts off with a man who, the epilogue in that book, the man is in the desert and he's dying and the buzzards are circling overhead and he's in the middle of nowhere and he's outside Las Vegas. He's 30 miles from any road. There's not a hair disturbed on his head. Someone just took him out there, dropped him off, and left him. And that actually happened to one of the people I represented back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we'll talk a little about the book as well, too. We'll start with your first book as well, to The Hill, along with others. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention The Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today of 4 Goes Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to support The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, and also on PayPal, and support on Anchor FM. And also for some great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/The Mike Wagner Show. And for more great gift ideas, including books by Mia Mosensia and more, go to Amazon.com/Mia Mosensia and order today. We're here with the very talented author Davis MacDonald here on The Mike Wagner Show, and we'll be talking about his new book, The Cruise, which addresses a very special situation that is it's going on and jeopardizing our lives. But let's start off first with The Hill as well, too. That's one of your first books, and tell us more about that.
Well, there are 8 books in total. One turned out a year, and The Hill, of course, was the first one. The Hill is a love story, Mike, a very personal love story. There's some biographical sorts of events in it. It's set forth right here in this little area called Palos Verdes, specifically Malaga Cove, where I live, looking over the Santa Monica Bay in Southern California. And it's one of the richest communities really in the country, but lots of interesting things happen here. So yeah, so the Hill really explores what the meaning of love is. How much would you risk for love? Would you risk your own life for love? And deals with a variety of those issues. But I think probably the more interesting is the book I wrote that came out in 2019 called The Lake, which was prophetic really in terms of predicting the coronavirus that we've been dealing with since March. I mean, this book came out the November before March, and my idea was to kind of take a close look. That the social issue involved was really the fact that first that people have been selling body parts around the world.
Oh my gosh.
That's a very big business. It is illegal in practically everywhere except Iran.
Mm-hmm.
But people are desperate, obviously, and there's long waits for a liver or a kidney, and so these parts get sold. And so I posited a group of scientists that were doing two things. First, they were producing pigs. Pigs have been since for 20 years a source of heart valves. Where they harvest pigs. Heart valves and replace the human heart valve because the anatomy of the pig is, in some ways, is very similar to yours and mine.
Interesting.
And so these scientists were doing their heart valves with their pigs, and they were also on the side brokering body parts around the world, in the Far East and elsewhere where you can do that. And they decided that they should tinker with the DNA of these pigs and develop designer pigs that would match specific people, so that when a person needed a heart valve or maybe some other part that could be manipulated in the pig's body, the designer pig's body, then they could use that for that person. It would be your own designer pig.
Oh my gosh.
And they started doing that. And this was November, as I say, of 2020. This was before the pandemic we have now. But the swine flu was sweeping the world. The swine flu was sweeping, I think China killed 2 million pigs during that period.
Wow.
And there was a shortage of pork, and it's a big problem in Asia and in parts of Europe. And so the story posits that the swine flu sweeps into these pigs. And since they've been tinkering with the DNA and injecting human DNA into the pig, it's very easy for the virus to sweep over from the pig into the human and become a human virus and threaten the world. And then, that's the function of the story. That's the basic plot. It's a murder mystery. There's lots of turns and dead ends and subplots and so on. It's a great read, great fun. But it really, little I know, publishing that in November, that in March, 5 months later, I'd be in the middle of a pandemic with you and others.
It's almost like a who knew when you wrote this. It's like, a pandemic involving pigs. And I'm like just scratching my head. And I thought we had a problem. It's like pigs are, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And of course, one question too, it made me think about, the illegal of selling body parts and what is the What is like the reason? Like it's like Iran has it legal. It's like there's something like organs, limbs, and everything, something like that.
Yes. Well, it's an interesting issue. I mean, some people think that body parts ought to be freely tradable. The social scientists say that if you allow parts to be traded freely, that you basically have a body part draw. You're going to draw parts from all the poor parts of the world into the rich parts of the world and leave the poor parts a lot poorer. People are desperate for money, will sell their kidney to pay off debt or whatever, and then they're quickly back in debt in that country, but now they have one less kidney and they can't work as hard and so on and so forth. So for that reason, and primarily, the countries, except for Iran, have gotten together and made it illegal to go outside the normal channels to broker body parts. But people still go on. They call it transplant tourism, where they go off to various areas in the Far East if they can't get a kidney. I mean, the waiting period for a kidney or a liver is typically, I think for a liver is 143 days or so.
Wow.
And if you need it in a hurry, and you've got plenty of money, you can go off and you can still get that done. And of course, because it's illegal, there's a black market, and the mob is involved in it, and people are often killed for their body parts. There's some awful cases of that.
Mm-hmm. And also getting back to the Hill as well, too, it introduces the judge and tells more about the judge.
Yeah, so the judge is this character. He is the protagonist in the 8 books. He meets the love of his life, Katie, in that first book, and she carries on. The first 2 books are serious love stories, and then she's his tag-along partner in solving these mysteries for the balance of the books. And the judge really doesn't have a name. He's just the judge. and he's a retired judge. He's not an active judge anymore. And the reasons why he's retired and forced out of the bench are really set forth in The Hill, which is part of that book and part of the politics of being a Superior Court judge in California.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, it carries over into The Island, where it examines the conflicts in a small tongue among factions that can't get along until a great danger faces everyone. And maybe just a bit about that, where it's like you have a fight until like one big soon-to-be tragedy happens.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's funny how maybe Americans more than anybody, individualists, but we all, it's human nature to kind of split up into groups and see the differences between us until a common problem comes along, and then we gang together to solve the problem. And that's been human nature forever, I think. So The Island deals with a little town called Avalon on Catalina Island, and there's a murder mystery and so on and so forth, and a yacht club and lots of goings on. It's a great read, great fun story, and a love story. But the town was almost destroyed a few years ago by a fire that came over the ridge and almost wiped out the town. They were on the verge of being just overrun and just burned to the ground, and they had to send for the Marines, amphibious carriers from the Marine base out here, and all sorts of extra fire people and so on, and they saved the town. And the town people got together and had to put aside their differences in order to protect the town, and that's what they did.
Uh-huh.
And so that's really their story, and their story is incorporated in this mystery novel.
Mm-hmm. And of course, speaking of attacks, your third book, Silicon Beach, takes place after an attack on Santa Monica Beach, and deals heavily into the homeless issue and the American issues as well, too.
Yes, and that's one of the sad tragedies of the 21st century, are the people who are the homeless. I mean, that's sort of a generic term for a lot of people who are homeless for different reasons. And there's various stages of homeless. I mean, I don't know what things are like up there, Mike, but here we have people that are homeless and living in their cars. We have people who are a little better off and homeless and living in campers. We have people living in tents. We have people living under overpasses on the freeway. And it's all very sad. So I deal with some of the issues that make up the homeless and why they're there. And the book suggests a political solution that would very quickly solve the homeless problem if it were implemented at the end of the book. But this is all wrapped around a serious, great fun mystery to read.
Mm-hmm. And of course, that you wrote about the homeless issue as well, too, what the politicians would do. What would your ideal solution would be?
Well, you got to read the book.
No, I'm talking about from your perspective, aside from the book, your perspective.
Well, actually, it's my perspective too. But I'll tell you. So the reason the homeless are having it's difficult to solve the problem is because they have no political clout. If you think about it, They vote. They don't vote. They have no clout at all. And so in the book, the benefactor puts up a huge stake of money, not to buy housing for the homeless, not to buy services for the homeless, but simply as a PAC, a political PAC, political action committee, to sponsor legislature folks who are running for office who will help the homeless and help solve the problem. And as soon as you inject money into the system to the politicians, and the homeless become a constituency who have money to put into your campaign, surprise, surprise, things can get done very quickly.
That does sound interesting. Maybe think of one movie as well, too, where you all banded together and say, no more. And I'm just trying to think of the movie. But also escalating to other issues, like with the Bay, Cabo. We went over the lake, and we'll talk about the cruise in just a few minutes. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout-out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by me and Mosen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by me and Mosen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And don't forget to support The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Also on Anchor FM and PayPal. And for great gift ideas, go to amazon.com/The Mike Wagner Show. And for more great gift ideas, including great books by me and Mosen Zia, go to amazon.com/me and Mosen Zia and order today. We're here with the very talented author Davis MacDonald of The Hill, The Island, Silicon Beach, and a lot more on The Mike Wagner Show. We'll talk about the cruise in just a few minutes. Right now, let's head over to the Bay in the 4th edition to the series, where the judge becomes embroiled in another mystery. This time, it escalates to the FBI, and tell us more about that when it examines a number of questions raised in the U.S., and especially the FBI.
Sure. Well, I wanted to write a book about the Muslim issue, really, the Muslim issue in this country in terms of the folks who are just regular people like you and me, Mike, that want to get along and have their own religion. And we've always been a country of freedom of religion, and we're not supposed to judge people because they have different views from us, and we try not to. But the other part of that is there is a minority part of the Muslim folks that are jihadists and really have an intent to destroy this country and bring it down. And if you talk to the FBI, they will confirm that those people are out there and exist. They exist. They have their own organizations. They do a lot of different things. They work. They've infiltrated Europe, and they like to infiltrate here. So the issue in that book is exactly that issue: the twin competing interests of the people who are here and happy to be here, Muslim, and love this country, and are discriminated against by folks in certain circumstances where they shouldn't be, and the jihadists who are here to destroy things and tear things apart. And also it goes into the Quran and talks about the philosophical basis of the jihadists and why they believe what they do and why they feel they have justification in the Quran to take on this country and endeavor to undermine it from within and without. Mm-hmm. So build around that as a murder mystery set in Balboa. This is a continuation of the love story of Katie, the wife, and now wife, and the judge. And the first 2 books, of course, were the love story. The 3rd book, she's married and then she's gotten pregnant. So this is the 4th book. And in the 4th book, The Bay, she's 8.5 months pregnant. So I try to inject humorous stories to make people smile in these books, and I'm pretty successful on that. But I asked all my friends, my lady friends who are mothers, for some humorous stories about being 8 months pregnant, and they all said the same thing, Mike. They said, there's nothing funny about being 8.5 months pregnant.
except when you're eating pickles and ice cream. That's probably it too.
Maybe that's right.
or maybe a lot of chocolate with like grapes or something, or some unusual combination.
Right. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't eat any. Anyway.
We're referring to my wife and other wives as well, too, that come up with all kinds of crazy cravings.
Anyway, it's a lot of fun to read. All these books are a lot of fun to read. There's a lot of humor. The judge is kind of a fuddy-duddy in some ways. He kind of gets himself in positions that he shouldn't, and says things and kind of gets his feet in his mouth and then has to take them back out and so on. So there's a lot of humor to lighten up what is really a fast-paced suspense story, a murder mystery with twists and turns, and built around this social issue that people should maybe think a little bit more about.
Mm-hmm. And of course, jumping from the Muslims as well too, that your fifth book, Cabo, as well too, set in Mexico and examines the Mexican human trafficking trade and the violence as well too. And tell us more about that. And it seems like the issues escalate more and more at an intense level.
Yes, well, and originally I thought that social issue was going to be the female slave traffic, but looking into it, I find that the slave traffic in Mexico is a much bigger issue than just women. It's everybody. I mean, you have some poor guy from El Salvador who comes up, and the cartel will grab him and steal his papers, and next thing he knows, he's in a company town packing tomatoes, and that's it. If he tries to leave, he has no papers, and they go after him and beat him up. And so he's there for life. He's just stuck. He gets a little bit of money, not anything like a fair wage, and then he has to buy his stuff at the company store and run a debt up there, so he never gets ahead, he never gets out, and that's his life. And so many people coming up from Central America have come into that situation, and now they're just literally enslaved in Mexico. It's sad, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's a lot of violence as well, too, besides with the trafficking and the cartels and everything else. And what else, goes on in terms of, the violence in Mexico as well, too, like some of the other issues?
Well, we don't, of course, there is the violence and the lack of authority. It's also very dangerous to be a person of the press like you, Mike. The lifespan of someone who is a enterprising journalist who wants to tell the truth about the gangs can be very short. And there are specific situations in that book that come from real life where the gangs have just snuffed people out because they didn't like what was being printed. So there's no, there is not the same sort of freedom of press we have in this country, and you don't really appreciate that until you go to some place like Mexico and look at the facts of what happens, what it means to be a crusading journalist in Mexico.
And also the prison situation as well, too. It's considered one of the worst in the world. It's not the worst, but it's like somewhere like in the top 10 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a very violent place.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, we're going to talk about the Cruz, his latest book as well, too, addressing a most important situation, why it jeopardizes our planet. First, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosensia of Missing, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. We'll be back with author Davis MacDonald of The Cruise after this timeout.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mia Mosensia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamosensia.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 30 podcast platforms, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, Apple, and more. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn, where The Mike Wagner Show interviews great guests, cool conversation, lots of laughs, coffee, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device, subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
We're back with the multi-talented author Davis MacDonald. He grew up in Southern California, member of the National Association of Independent Writers and Editors, also law professor, Bar Association chairman, investment banker, and lawyer here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Davis, let's talk about your book, The Cruise, as well, too. And this one here addresses a pretty serious situation, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and how it jeopardizes our lives on this planet. Tell us more about it.
Well, it may be our next pandemic, Mike. It very well may be. I mean, the garbage patch itself is an area of the Pacific Ocean about twice the size of Texas. Mm-hmm. And the wind and currents sweep the plastic into this area where it's reduced to micro-sized particles that the fish eat, and the birds eat the fish, and the stuff spreads. But the reality is that since plastic was invented many years ago, it doesn't decompose beyond these micro-sized bits. All the plastic was ever made by a man on this planet still exists and still out there. And so the plastic is there, but it's also on the land. And the experts estimate that you and I, Mike, we probably consume approximately 5 grams of plastic a week in the form of microplastic.
Oh, my goodness.
That's about the size of a credit card. Can you think you've eaten your credit card every week?
Eating credit cards is only when I'm trying to get rid of debt or trying to get rid of a credit card. Not eating them, sorry. Even you put all kinds of salt and pepper on it, not a credit card. No way. Unless you cook them, fry them, whatever. I don't think air fryers will do the trick on those credit cards. Not even grilling it.
Yeah, well, so when you order in that fish restaurant that beautiful piece of wild salmon on the plank, and you dig into it, you're consuming micro bits of plastic in that. They think the average human being consumes about 74,000 microplastic bits a year, and they do autopsies and they find it. The medical people have not caught up with exactly how much harm it's doing. There's a lot of suspicion, but we don't have the studies yet to exactly say what this is doing to our system. But everybody agrees that it's just not good at all to be ingesting this plastic, and yet we are. They find the plastic in Yosemite. They'll find it up in North Dakota where you are.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All over this country. It blows in the wind. And it covers everying, and it never decomposes beyond this particle size.
And how much would you say 74,000 microbits? How is that converted into pounds, kilos, grams, or how is it converted into pounds? How much would that be about?
I don't know the answer. I didn't convert it into credit cards either. But I think it would be a stack.
You know something? I think I ingested someone's account number. I'll have to dig it out of my system. Maybe I'll have to get a heart surgery in order to dig out somebody's credit card, or maybe if I have to swap a kidney, maybe somebody's credit card information's in there, and I can use that to pay for surgeries. I think that'd be a next wave of the future. Someone's credit card information, like in your organs. If you need surgery or anything, just pull out that number and then just charge it to whoever put it in there.
There you go. Yeah.
And of course, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's some things you can do. You shouldn't be drinking water out of plastic bottles. So the single-use bottle is an enormous area where we have the creation of plastic that people use and throw away, and it ends up often in this Great Pacific Garbage Dump, or it ends up somewhere else. But the methods for disposing of this plastic just aren't very good, and it decomposes, and then that's the source. I think plastic caps are the number 2 biggest component of plastic in the Great Pacific Garbage Dump, and single-use plastic bottles are the 3rd most frequent thing you find that end up in that dump and become decomposed. So the story is about the judge and Katie, and they go on a cruise from Los Angeles to Hawaii, and over that 5-day cruise, they end up sitting at a table that's a table of a businessman and his family and his key executive officers, and the businessman happens to be in the business of producing soda, and he puts them in single-use bottles, which kind of brings in the point of where this plastic is coming from. And a storm requires the ship to divert, and so they divert north a little bit from their route and end up in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. But meanwhile, the dinner, there's 5 nights on the voyage, so there's 5 dinners. It's a dinner party. It's kind of like a Agatha Christie dinner party, 10 Little Indians or something, because each night someone from the table disappears. They have an accident. There's one accident, next night another accident, until it's too many accidents to be just random accidents. And so the judge investigates, and that's really the sense of the story right there.
Wow, that is amazing. And of course, getting closer to the truth, ship being blown off course, and then everything just becomes fractured. And it's just have to say, it's like you go from one dinner, it just separates into unpleasant midnight snacks.
There you go. Yeah. So that book starts off with another interesting situation that happened to a client of mine. He was in the valley and having a good life in his 50s, and around 2 a.m, his son called him out from his bedroom, left the wife sleeping, the mom, said, "There's something I need to show you, Dad. It's really important to me. Come downstairs." And he was groggy, but, okay. So he came downstairs, and the son said, "It's out in the driveway." And so the son took him out in the driveway and said, I want to show you. This is really important to me. You stand here. I put a little X there. So Dad stands there, and the son goes across the driveway, and there's an empty Folger can sitting there, and the kid says, "I'm just tired of being in this family. All you think about is money. You never have time for us. You're emotionally abusive to Mom and to the kids, and I just can't take it anymore." And the dad gets mad and says, "Well, you're living under my roof, and you suck up my money, and you haven't accomplished anything in your life, and you're just blah, blah, blah." And the kid reaches down, picks up the coffee can, dumps it over his head, turns out to be filled with gasoline.
Oh, my gosh.
Ablaze. And that maybe not the words and the speech, but the events. That's actually what happened to a client of mine back again in the 90s. Very sad that the young man went to UCLA Burn Center last week, and then he died. But that's the beginning of the cruise, and that triggers a lot of the motivation all the way through to the end and to the surprise ending of the book. And but it's a true story, and so I try and take the true stories from my life, and there are a lot of interesting stories, and weave them into a plot. Fact really is stranger than fiction, so I weave it into a plot that makes for a suspenseful, exciting book, a book that you want to just try to go right through and read page to page when you can, because it's easy to read and it's exciting and quick. But by the end of that book, by the end of the cruise, you're going to know a lot about the plastic problem.
And definitely will do so. Looking at the cover as well, too. And as you say, grab one of your novels, buckle up for some adventure, and enjoy the ride. I mean, the read, as they say.
There you go.
Yes, that's right, too. And also, you talked about coming up later in 2021. You spoke briefly about the dark web. And what can we expect from you in later in 2021 and beyond, like 2022 or afterwards, in terms of books or stories?
Well, I'm not sure about beyond 2021, but this book will come out in November, and I've turned kind of zeroed my focus in. There's the dark web, and it's very easy for kids even to get on the dark web now. And if you combine that with the fact that, in the old days when I was growing up, there was a lot of concern about drugs and kids, and there would be a pusher maybe on the street corner if you're in a bad area or in the neighborhood or maybe at school that would sell you drugs and things. Well, the people that sell these drugs to our youth have all gone computer-wise, just like the rest of us. So they're online, and they get online and they sell these kids online, and they use the dark web, and they use bogus sites, and they do lots of things that the parents don't know about. There was a case, I think 2 weeks ago, where the mom went upstairs, and the 14-year-old boy was there unconscious, and he was on an overdose. He ordered something online. He didn't know what it was, but he was experimenting, and she didn't know about it. And he overdosed, and he damn near died. So that's what's happening, and that's an important issue that I want to talk about in this next mystery.
Okay, and we're looking forward to that as well, too, or be more aware of it. And what are some of the other issues that needs addressing from your perspective?
Oh, well, I take it one at a time, Mike. I mean, I'm still thinking about that one. So I don't know what I'll be talking about in 2022, but it'll be something exciting. Mm-hmm. My daughter just, she goes to USC. She's a junior, and she's just in an internship here with the DA's office here in Los Angeles, which is an interesting spot for her. And she's been assigned to the elder abuse department.
Oh,
so I may be taking a look at that. I don't know.
Oh, you know something? That has not been addressed. I mean, I've been dealing with some, social issues with, great people like you. I've had some other guests. It's elder abuse has never been mentioned. We talk about PTSD. We also talk about, gun violence, suicide, and, murders and all that. But elder abuse, I don't think that's been brought up in quite a while. That's an interesting topic you've happened to bring up.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be 2022. We'll have to see.
Yes, and we're certainly looking forward to talking about that. We're here with author Davis MacDonald here on the Mike Wagner Show of the Lake, the Hill, Silicon Beach, the Bay, Cabo, and also talked about the cruise as well too. And where can we find all your books at, Davis?
Well, they're you can order them online, of course, at Amazon and the other outlets, and you can order really through any bookstore. I'd like to point out that my name is Davis, D-A-V-I-S. It's not David. Some people could get confused and look for David MacDonald, but it's Davis MacDonald. And MacDonald is like old MacDonald had a farm. It's M-A-C, not M-C, but M-A-C, MacDonald. Mm-hmm. So if you Googled Davis MacDonald dash author on Google, you'll see my website with all the books. There's a trailer for each book, and a description of what the story's about. And as I say, I think people enjoy them. I mean, I get a lot of good feedback from people that read them. Getting noticed is sometimes difficult because there's a lot of people that write mystery stories in this country and around the world. But the people who read mine come back and read the rest of the books because they have something important to say.
Mm-hmm. And very important as well, too. Looking forward to that. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career, Davis?
Well, I guess I'd have to go with Hemingway. I mean, interesting writer, newsman, learned how to take words and string them together in short, tight sentences and phrases that go pow when you read them. And that's what I try and do in my books.
Okay.
So my books are easy to read. You can whip through them. There aren't a lot of fancy sentences with 16 different phrases attached to them, but you get the point. Yeah, and that's why I think people like them.
Mm-hmm. And certainly do. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Well, I think if you want to be a writer and write books, fiction books, mystery books, or some other genre, I think you just got to do it. You just got to go through and do it. I'm reminded of Admiral Nelson after the big battle at Trafalgar. Someone asked him at a cocktail party after that. A party. I know they had cocktail parties. Probably didn't call it cocktail parties back then, but they said, "So, what's the secret, Admiral? How'd you succeed against the French?" And he said, "You just go at them. You just got to keep going at them. You just keep going at them. You never stop. You just go at them." Well, you want to write a book, that's what you got to do. You got to go at it and just keep at it and keep at it. Persistence is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. And definitely very important as well, too. Very inspirational. Once again, author Davis MacDonald of The Cruise and more here on the Mike Wagner Show. Davis, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond with more. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
Yeah, well, again, just Google Davis MacDonald on Google and dash author, and you'll find the website. All the books are there. You can see the covers. You can see a trailer for each book, and you can see the description, a little bit about the story. And they're all exciting reads. I mean, they're page turners. People tell me they read them standing in line. They read them on airplanes, of course, and on trains and things commuting. And Somebody told me last week he was reading my book while he was on Zoom.
They read your book on Zoom? I'm going to have to try that one day.
So there you have it. I don't know, Mike. Whatever works for you, works for you.
I think I love your ideas. Once again, Davis, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and more. And don't forget to keep in touch and just keep us on the edge of our seats. And you've been absolutely terrific.
All right. I'll certainly try, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Hey, everybody. My name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real-life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. You know, it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.